Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a Monday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's the week. It is Masters Week, a tradition like no other. The best week of the year. I can't wait. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline. We got thousands of texts about the Gators, the awful Gator baseball team. Getting swept. When I said they were going to sweep Missouri. Missouri's god awful. I don't care what anybody can tell me. They're terrible. Gators sit at 17-14, believe it or not, in baseball. 6-6 in conference play. Softball goes for the series against the 5th-ranked LSU Lady Tigers. They sit at 33-6. Lost a heartbreaker in overtime and extra games, extra innings yesterday. Congratulations to the gymnastics team. They are heading back to Fort Worth for the national championship meet there. It's a semifinals, then the finals. So congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to the Lady Gamecocks. Man, what a team they have. I didn't get to see any of the game. I was following it on my phone. I saw the highlights though. I need one of our loyal listeners who follows women's basketball. Why in the hell does South Carolina's Lady Gamecocks have gold in their uniforms? Do you know the answer to that, JC?
These are questions I don't have answers to, but
I need to answer because that kind of stuff. I'm very curious because their colors are garnet and black, and they had athletic gold striping on their uniforms. So somebody please let me know.
Don't know about that, but I do know they're 37-0 or whatever, 38-0. It was a spectacular season. I don't remember anything like it other than maybe one of those UConn teams, but they're the dynasty in women's basketball. And Caitlin Clark, second straight year she gets to the final game, can't finish it with Iowa. So it's tough for Iowa right now, and she's going to be fine though. Don't feel bad for her. Her bank account's going to be very happy. Especially when she's the first pick in the WNBA draft. I don't think it's going to lead to a bunch of people watching the WNBA anymore or any better or any more than they typically do. But I do think Caitlin Clark is a name that people can kind of gravitate toward in that sport. But, as far as the baseball team goes, this is a kind of a theme that it just seems like, the biggest problem with football QB was stopping people. The basketball team lost its last game of the year but with somebody scoring 102 points. Missouri they just scored and scored and scored on the Gators. And I did not see a sweep happening.
The Gators were up 2 going to the bottom of the ninth.
I know, but there's too many runs being scored. Many runs being scored, QB.
Real quick, their runs being scored all over the country. Andy says the officials bailed out ESPN at the end of the Iowa-UConn game. Terrible screen call. He's talking about I will say this. There's a lot of people out there thinking that they wanted Iowa in the finals. I get it. I firmly believe it was a legal screen set. She was moving, clearly moving. Do you call it at that time? I don't know all the answers to that, but it was an illegal screen for sure. For sure. Everybody's giving me crap about us sweeping. Look, like I told you people, you ain't got to watch this show. Missouri's horrible. It's embarrassing that they swept us. So.
Yeah. QB, the bottom line is it's very simple. You've lost.
I have zero control over anything that happens.
The way I want them to be able to pitch to win something big this year. They've got to get better. I think we saw that this week. Look, we went 2 out of 3. We went 2 out of 3.
But JC, only runs were scored in the last game. The other ones were 4-3 and 2-1 or something like that.
No, in the second
yes, they
game,
were.
It was not 2-1. It was not. Did you look at the score? No. Did you look at the scores? No. It's
Give me the scores of the Missouri series.
I am. Okay, I'll pull it up. If this Gator, the thing is this Gator Zone app or Gator whatever app, it's I sometimes have a hard time, and it's probably user error, but I have problems sometimes looking
Yeah,
at it.
Michael says the baseball team losing all three does not bode well for them at all. Do they even make the College World Series? I mean,
Well,
look,
how about a
nobody knows
region?
who they're
Can we get to
nobody
a
knows who
regional?
they're going to make the College World
Can we
Series.
get
It's
to a
hard to get
regional
there.
first? Yeah, we got to get to a regional first. So the scores of these games, QB,
The Missouri game, one of them was 4-3, I believe. One of them, I thought the other one was 2-1. Are you going to give me the scores or no?
I'm trying to find them on this goofy app. It's
All right.
this is terrible.
I'm going to look them up.
We were in Mississippi playing golf, QB. That's what we do. But I think the problem is that these teams are just scoring too many runs against Florida.
Greg says he saw the Tennessee women's basketball team wearing Carolina blue. Carolina blue's always been a part of the women's basketball team for the Lady Vols. I've never seen the gold, and I'm just curious what that's all about. So I guess nobody cares or even probably even notice it, quite honestly. I notice those things.
Okay, you're right about game 2. It was 4-3.
Yeah. Okay. It was 2-1, 4-3, 11-10. So the pitching was not the problem. We couldn't hit the first 2 games. And then we had a 2-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th, and we gave it up. We walked the first 2 batters. So there's that.
I read it wrong.
We got a lot of text here. Want to know about John Calipari going to the Arkansas Razorbacks.
I saw the.
Am I surprised a little bit, but not really? He's very close to the billionaire of Tyson Chicken. And I think the next coach at Kentucky will be one of these 4 guys. My guess. Chris Beard, Bruce Pearl, Rick Pitino, or Billy Donovan. Those are my 4.
I said Billy Donovan 2 months ago. If he loses the Bulls, he can get back into relevancy by coaching the Kentucky Wildcats. Nobody cares about him coaching the Chicago Bulls. If he wants to get back to relevancy, he comes back to Lexington, or he goes to Lexington to coach the Kentucky Wildcats. The Pitino or the Calipari thing is not as much a surprise that he could leave that $30 million contract, because the contract had a stipulation in it that said if he wanted to go, he could go without any repercussion. That's how he restructured that lifetime contract that they gave him a while back. But Arkansas is a good job. It's a very good basketball job. I think he's going to do fine there, and he'll get the right play.
Andy says the gold, he called it yellow, but it's athletic gold. Athletic gold is that color. I mean, that's my industry, so I know. Is for the beak of Kaki's beak. So how about that?
All right, QB. Okay, I was talking about Cal's contract, but you're really wrapped up in this damn gold.
No, I'm reading the damn Facebook Live. Somebody asked, I asked a question and they answered it.
Well, I'm glad we got that answered. Thank the Lord in heaven that we now know why a team that went 38-0 or 37-0 has a gold stripe down their uniform. I couldn't get through my day today if I didn't know that.
Well, you didn't even notice it. You don't notice those things. Just trust me. When it comes to uniforms and how to dress at a golf course, don't question me, JC.
Yes. Oh, God forbid, no. But Masters Week. Oh, by the way, that kid that won it yesterday, this Akshar Bhatia, had to overcome watching his partner get 8 straight birdies on his way to a 28 on the back 9 yesterday. And then the poor guy on the first sudden death hole chunks a wedge shot from 105 yards into a creek. It was just odd to watch. And then as the guy Bhatia hits his putt to force the sudden death after the dude he was playing with made 8 birdies, he dislocated his shoulder cheering the putt that went in. So he had to call the trainer to come out and do something as he finished the final hole. And he won because the guy hit the ball in the rocks. But that guy shot 28 on the back 9 to get into the turn sudden death. That has to be startling to play in that situation, which now gets him into the Masters. So Bhatia was
it's Bate is how they pronounce his last name, JC. He is 6'1", 165 pounds.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. He's like your height and 40 pounds lighter.
I'm 6'3", JC. 6'1" and 6'3" are a big difference.
Oh, okay.
When you're 5'8", you don't worry about that kind of stuff. I understand. All right, we got some text on the Titan and More text line. that I got to get to here. This is from someone in the 9401. I don't have it. What would you say about the baseball team now? For those of us that have been concerned with midweek games against much lesser opposition, it's come to fruition. This is one of the most embarrassing weekends in Gator history. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm surprised they lost 3. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving up. I don't, like I said, I think Gator Nation needs to take a week vacation. You don't even have to go anywhere. Just turn off all the crap and quit worrying because there's not a damn thing you can do about it. JC, did you worry about Alabama losing against UConn? No.
I didn't worry because that was my expectation. I thought Alabama played a hard game, played as hard as they could. Look, they were tied, 58-58. It was exciting. But everybody knew that the run was coming at some point with UConn. Tonight's game, the two centers will match up. That will help Purdue. I just don't see Purdue's guards keeping up with Connecticut's guards.
Now, Purdue's point guard is a stud.
He's good. And look, that team is good.
What do you mean he's good? He was up for the damn player of the year in the nation.
That team is a 1 seed. UConn is a 1 seed. You know, it's all about the chalk in those two regions, and they had really no problem either team getting through each region. I was surprised at how easy it was for those teams to get through their region. And I don't know. I just think Connecticut is the team that's meant to win. And I don't want them to win. I don't want them to get a back-to-back.
They're so good. It's
they're
ridiculous.
Going to win.
None of their games have even been
Alabama
close.
Alabama played them tough for a while. It wasn't.
They still lost by 18.
They lost by 14, and it was a 4-point. It was a 4-point game at halftime. QB, don't act like UConn.
No. I thought Alabama played as good as they could play, and they were still losing at half
by 4. So what?
Yeah,
but
I said they played the best they could play. They were 8 of 11 from 3 at half, right. And they're still losing the game. Look, nobody's beating UConn. UConn's one of the most dominant basketball teams I've seen in years.
We talked about this in February.
I understand that.
I said it's UConn's world, and we're all living in it. It's not. We got
people here. JC. You got to relax because I have people here debating them against the Gator Nation. Who cares? But I think this team. I have to go back and watch the Gators. Did they dominate people in the tournament like this team has?
Well, they dominated UCLA in that game. I'll remember that one.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. People are wanting to know, do I think Dan Hurley's going to go to Kentucky? Absolutely not. Why would he? He's getting ready to win back-to-back. And we stated this the other day. UConn is getting ready to have more national titles than Duke. And they are the premier basketball school in America. Nobody will change my mind.
Absolutely are. I mean, it's their world, and we're just living in it right now. Yeah. And Hurley getting what he wants. I think Edey will post up that 7 guy, that Klingon. I think that'll be a good match to watch. I don't think anybody can beat that UConn kid. That's when he killed Alabama, right? He kills everybody. But Edey will give him some pressure. I mean, he's 7'4" for crying out loud. He's the player of the year. Of course, it's going to be a good matchup. But I still think UConn's got the better guards. I think they're going to win the game.
Somebody on YouTube, I can't find it here. Brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Wanted to know, did I think or you thought Nate Oates would go to Kentucky? I said that a couple of weeks ago. I don't see it happening because he just got a new contract and the buyout is like $18 million. Now that Kentucky won't pay it, but the Bruce Pearl, Chris Beard, Patino, they don't really. I'm sure they have a buyout, but it's not that pricey. So again, my four are Billy, Patino, Bruce Pearl, and Chris Beard. I think one of those 4.
I mean, I'd call Billy right now and say, "Here's a farm, wherever you want it. Come to Kentucky. There it is." And that's not a real reach, but he does have a job with the Chicago Bulls currently. So I don't know. We'll see. But it wouldn't surprise anybody, I don't think, because we know this. But the basketball tournament had its moments. It was disappointing for Florida fans. I get it. But it had its moments. But it was really never in doubt.
To Kentucky.
Yeah, but it was really never in doubt. It's not been in doubt for me. I had all chalk going in, and I think Houston would still be there if Jamal Shed didn't get hurt in their game against Duke. They are a better team than Duke. I think they would have won their regional, and we would have had 3 number 1 seeds. That's what I think. But Houston lost because Shed lost. his health. I mean, his ankle went out on, so he turned his ankle. So it's hard to play when your best guard is not playing, especially against
Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. Got JC on here. We'll have Scott Carter, second portion of today's show. He can give you all his thoughts on baseball, basketball, track, gymnastics, water polo, everything else going on. We don't play water polo that I'm aware of. We may have a club team. G or Gee says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum. Two old men bickering this morning. It's Masters Week. Let's go.
What are we bickering about?
I don't know what we're bickering about.
I don't know either. But I don't know. QB, so they were hoping that the tour was hoping that the Live and the PGA Tour would get some sort of common ground, find some common ground before this tournament started, because you're going to have a bunch of Live guys playing in this tournament. That didn't happen. Masters couldn't care less. I think they're just going to call up the best players, invite them, and have them play with former champions. That's how it works there.
Yeah, it should be fun. Dan wanted to know on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mount, am I going to Fort Worth? No, I'm not. I only went to I crossed off the women's gymnastics national championship meet because I was in Fort Worth or right outside in Arlington last year. So I decided to go over.
You were
I'm not going to travel for that.
Yeah. You were living there for 3 months, whatever.
Yeah, somebody on here says he saw where Edie cut down the nets without a ladder. Has never seen that before. Yeah. When you're 7'4", all you got to do is reach up with that wingspan. He just cut his net down.
Incredible. I do think that'll be fun to watch, him and E. Klingon getting after it down low. I don't know how that's going to go.
I mean, these are the two best teams all year long, and you're going to see a great game, but I think UConn is just way too much for them.
Yeah, no surprise. Not at all. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But I hope it's somewhat interesting. I hope it's close. Iowa tried to make it interesting last night or yesterday in the women's game. They cut the lead to 4 there at the end. They had the lead in the first half, first 2 quarters, I should say, but they couldn't hold on. And there's just so much firepower with South Carolina's team. They just score and score and score at will. I think Connecticut's the same kind of team. They can score at will. They can go on these runs and you can't do anything about it. So
we got a question here, and I can't see who it is because it won't let me scroll. But it says, is it about money? Why would Billy not stay with Florida only to go to UK? I thought he left Florida because he wanted to go to the NBA only.
Yeah. Well,
here's the thing. Again, regardless of how Kentucky has done the last 30 years or whatever, Kentucky is a blue blood in basketball. The Gators are not. You're not. I mean, they're not even on the same planet when it comes to that. The perception, what they pour into that program. I mean, they sell 25,000 seats no matter who's coming to the ballpark. It is sold out. So I think there is an opportunity. I think Billy will get a phone call. Now, whether he wants to deal with NIL and all that, he may be happy just getting his brains beat in with the Bulls.
Right. But, I think coaches do want to have some sort of viability and don't want to be a forgotten name or a commodity anymore. The golden age and era for Florida sports was that time when they won back-to-backs and Urban and those guys did their football thing. Think about how great that was when you're a Florida Gator fan or alumni, and how rare that is to go back-to-back in basketball, to literally almost go back-to-back in football. If you think about that and you think about how rare it is, just be glad it happened. Because it's with the NIL today and the transfer rules and the portals and all these kind of moving parts of college sports, having a back-to-back champion is going to be very unlikely, except UConn tonight.
And they may win it next year. There's no way in my mind Dan Hurley leaves UConn.
Now, Georgia football, I agree with that. And Georgia football did it, as well. But, I guess maybe I'm overstating that, but I don't think it's going to happen that often.
Mark asked on Facebook Live, YouTube, brought to you by Quad. Does Tiger play this week and does he make the cut?
Oh,
I assume Tiger's playing.
Yeah.
I will say he does not make the cut.
Does not. Well, that course is not. Do you think when you line up all these courses, how would you rank the Masters, that Augusta National, with say the other three major courses? Now they do change every year, so you have to look at it. But they don't grow the rough at Augusta.
Yeah, that's
But
the key. Like I told you, I can make Augusta National very hard.
Yeah, I mean, they just tried to make it longer, but that doesn't really bother me.
Length has nothing to do with these guys.
Right.
It's
Doesn't
rough, rough,
Mm-hmm.
and tight fairways. That's what made Copperhead the winning score at Copperhead, wasn't it? Like 9 under par.
It was gonna be.
I think it was in the single digits. I don't remember, but those guys struggled hitting the golf ball because the rough was deep and the fairways were about 14, 15 yards wide. That's hard.
Right. And if Augusta National gets any rain, that just really.
Let's hope there's no rain, because that makes it way too easy.
A shooting gallery. And QB, as well as I do that the winner's going to be at 14, 15 under, something like that. I think anyway. Maybe not. Maybe it won't be. Maybe they'll be 8 under and these guys will stink. But this is the best of the best playing this weekend. That's why we love it so much, the tradition and all that. But I don't love seeing 16 under win the Masters. I don't love seeing 14 under win the Masters. 11, 9, 10 maybe, but it's not. Those scores are going to be a lot lower than the U.S. Open. That's all I know.
Chris says Tiger shot 31 on the front yesterday in his practice round. He's ready to rock.
Okay. Well, he knows that course is better as well as anybody. He's won it, what, 5 times? 6? 5? So
yeah, for sure. So Jeff says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. The scores were 2-1, 4-3, 11, 10 were the baseball scores.
Yep.
This is not a good Gator baseball team. But they will have a losing record in the SEC. So will LSU. We don't belong in the top 25. Not enough stud pitchers. Well, I agree that we don't have great pitching. But if you look at the first 2 scores, obviously we didn't swing the bats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say we got good pitching the first 2 games.
Good enough to win. Yeah.
CAG started game 3 and obviously didn't pitch well.
No, it's true. And I don't know what goes through these kids. Remember, these kids are traveling to Missouri. Who knows what kind of mood they were in when they were playing that 3rd game after losing those first 2 games. They probably just want to get the hell out of town. And I don't know. This is Kevin O'Sullivan's job, but they do have 14 losses. That you cannot deny that.
Tony says the hitting's been worse than the pitching. And Tony watches every pitch of Gator baseball, so I'll go with what he says. Somebody just talked about Arkansas not being a blue blood. Why would Cal go there? I just mentioned Cal is one of his best friends is the billionaire that owns Tyson Chicken. Okay, so he can go to Arkansas, clean slate, fresh start. The expectations are going to be there, but not like Kentucky. So
yeah, well. But they've won twice, right? They've won 2 championships or 1?
Who, the Hogs?
Yeah. Is it 1 or 2?
The Corliss Williamson, Scotty, whatever his name was.
Scotty, that was Nolan Richardson, and I know they won it once. That was in the 94 year. I can't remember if they won it again. But I will tell you this, they are a basketball. They can be a basketball school. That arena, the whole, it's a good school. Listen, when I was traveling to the SEC basketball tournament, there were 2 schools that had the most fans at the SEC basketball tournament, and Arkansas matched Kentucky in every metric. Every metric. The Arkansas fans travel like as good as anybody. They're like LSU fans. LSU fans are the greatest traveling sports consortium of everything. They'll travel to women's basketball, women's tennis, women's baseball, or men's baseball rather, women's softball, football. It's all a party, right? And they're not as happy with their baseball team either, folks. So just don't think it's just you. The LSU guys I talked to this weekend, we suck. So they're not booking Omaha like they were this time last year when they knew they were going to be at the final weekend in Omaha. They knew it, but they don't know it now.
Yeah, Tony says Arkansas was a premier basketball school for a while. Don't undersell it. Here's the other thing too. I read somewhere last night that. Not that Kentucky doesn't have this, but from an NIL standpoint, Cal was basically said, whatever you need, we will give you for NIL. Yeah. So it'll be interesting for sure. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union.
Your
All right,
guy
JC, 1956 at the 20th Masters Tournament at Augusta National. Jack Burke Jr. wins his first major title, one stroke ahead of amateur Ken Venturi.
Okay.
That was the final Masters played without a 36-hole cut.
Mm.
I didn't know that. So back in the day, they just signed up to play for 4 days.
Yeah. Well, also back in the day, we only got to watch the back nine on Sunday.
Right.
So it's changed and it's evolved. They have changed a little bit, but that course cannot be. If it rains, forget it. They're going to kill that place with the scoring. I believe. And there's
I've not looked at the weather forecast, but let's hope not. Text on the Titan More text line from George. Shane, did you go to the scrimmage on Saturday and what happened? I did not.
No.
We'll touch base with Scott Carter. Maybe he went. He can fill us in on what happened at the scrimmage. But the orange and blue game is set for Saturday, 1:00 this weekend.
There you go. There you go.
I think I'll be in the booth with if I can get one of our young spotters, I'll have him set my phone up over here like this, JC, where the Masters will be on. While Sean Kelly's going, we're talking about some dude that, some walk-on from New Jersey with a great story. That's what you do in spring games, right? You try to tell stories.
Yeah.
It is so damn boring.
You tell stories because I don't know what you're really talking about down there.
Right.
But, good time for folks to get outside and enjoy it. And, after this, it's only 3 months away. So is that right? Am I right or wrong about that? 4 months away. So it's not far. It's not far. I can remember January the 1st, I'm in Pasadena and it's already April. It did not seem like a very long time ago. So 4 months can fly by. So we'll see what happens.
Listen to this Facebook Live. I can't see who it's from. It says, when you're the most popular team in your state, helps with all the 25,000 fans for every game, regardless of who they are playing. Florida universities had to compete with 3 NFL franchises, 2 NBA franchises, and 2 baseball. So I can see why Arkansas and UK can do that. See, I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
I just don't think. I mean, yes, there are no professional teams in Arkansas. There's Arkansas State University and Central Arkansas. I get that. Same way with Kentucky. But my point is, majority of those people that go to Rupp Arena on a weekly basis, they're not traveling very far. They're not coming from like 6 hours away on the other side of the state or whatever to watch basketball. Maybe once a year. But
there's 23 million people in the state of Florida. Okay?
Right. And I get it. I have a hard time believing that people would rather go watch the Miami Heat or the Tampa Bay Devil Rays than their university. But majority of the people that live in the state of Florida are from New York or wherever. They could care less about Florida State, or Miami. Does that make sense?
It does. It totally does. We have more people from other places than we do from our own state. But again, we're the third most populous state in the country. There's going to be competition for other things. And we have more coastal cities than, as much as mileage on our state as California, for goodness sake. So you're going to have that. But look, University of Florida doesn't have to compete for people. They've got a massive alumni base. It's the largest school enrollment-wise in the Southeast, and maybe even in the entire East, for that matter. East of the Mississippi or east of most of those Big Ten schools, Florida has more than all of it. So if you love the Gators, you have no excuse for not loving the Gators. It's as simple as that. Now, some don't, but if you do, then we got more than anybody.
Muddy Johnson says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, cool weather here in Augusta. I think the scoring stays similar to last year. I wonder if Muddy, you think Muddy's part of he must live in Augusta?
Well, I tell you, it's for one week out of the year, it is the place to be. No question. But I'll tell you, Augusta is not the most beautiful city on earth.
But Augusta National Golf Club is.
That is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people. But I just want it to be I want to see a good tournament. I want to see some good names. And I'm rooting for any PGA guy over a live guy. Those are my rules.
Yeah. So you and I will do our Peachland Dental.
Yeah, I don't care about
Gator Nation picks. Not Gator Nation picks, but our golf picks on.
I hope they have a great
Wednesday.
life wearing their goofy little hats and their shorts and their socks, and they're making $500 million. That's great, wonderful. But I don't have to talk about them. I don't. And we never watch them play golf anymore. So I'm rooting for PGA guys. I want a PGA guy to win. I'm a PGA guy. As our friend go, well, I want a PGA guy. Why don't you root for a PGA guy? What's wrong with that? Our
very,
friend from
very
Melbourne,
true.
Our friend from Melbourne was on fire yesterday at breakfast. Oh my god! But anyway, yeah. So it was a good trip. I'm glad we got to go. I'm glad we made it home. And now we got a big week of golf watching to do. It's going to be fun.
All right, JC, before we get you out of here, your pick tonight, score for UConn.
It's Connecticut wins 80, 82-69, 82-70, something like that.
All right. I agree.
They will cover the 6.5. They've covered every single game. They are killing Las Vegas. And if you are jumping on Connecticut, you are changing your quarterly.
Well, just like be careful saying tell everybody to jump on Connecticut, because you told everybody to jump on Iowa the other night.
I did. Iowa. Yeah. Oh yeah. The line went up from 2.5 to 4, but you're right. That she missed the free throw. That's what killed us. But listen, this is different, man. These guys are animals out there. They're killers. They are assassins, and that's the best basketball team we've seen in the last 2 years. And bar none, it's not even close. It's not even close. They are relentless. And their coach is outstanding. They have tradition. They have everything you need to win. But that's all they win at Connecticut. That's it.
That's all they care about.
Man, that's fine. That's good. I mean, they're a tiny little school in a tiny little state. That's it. But good for them. Good for them. I mean, that's all they can cheer for. Bring the Huskies down here to the SEC. Let's play some football in September and see how it goes. So, I mean, come on.
Well, their football is equivalent to Vanderbilt.
Right. I mean, they probably would beat Vanderbilt, but that's where we're at. They're basketball powerhouse, and they probably can do some other things like cross country and swimming and all that. But I don't even know. But I've had no doubt in my mind about their basketball team. And the funny thing is, during the year, we really never even talked about UConn. They didn't get the kind of coverage or press until the ending part of the year, and then all of a sudden, oh well, there's UConn. I mean, I don't know if we didn't talk about them that much.
Well, we did. I told you they were very good, and you were talking all that smack. Remember, then Creighton beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. Well,
and I put the Blue Jay up.
They're better than Creighton QB. So
well, I know they are. I mean, that's the thing about college basketball. You go on the road.
Yeah, that's right.
You can lose. Conference play is different. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is because, in the whole all season, coaches, they know the players on the teams within your conference. They know your scheme. They know your tendencies. That's why conference play is so difficult. And then when you get to the tournament, you have to prepare for that team in like a day.
Well,
it's 48 hours.
It's a whole new thing. But the SEC on football has to go to 9 games, or else we're not a conference. We're just an association with a lot of schools that have similarities, because we don't play each other. So if you don't play each other, you can't say you're a conference. So they'll have to go to 9 games in 26. If they don't go to 9 games, I'm calling BS on the whole thing. So,
all right, JC, have a great day.
Okay,
and we will talk to you on Wednesday. That's JC joining us on the Titan MR Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. When we come back, we're going to talk some Gators spring sports with our man Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. You got any questions for softball, baseball, gymnastics, and spring football? Give us a shout. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union.
Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Rose Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We'll have Scott Carter here in just a second. Richard says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He says, we need a new hitting coach. Well, we're going to go see if this guy, who was a power hitter back in the day, from FloridaGators.com, Scott Carter. Good morning, Scott. How you doing, my man?
Shane, good morning, man. Yeah, the Gators could have used a few more hitters over the weekend, right? Scoring 4 runs in the first 2 games, then you get 10 runs in the third game. You expect to win, and then the pitching left. I mean, it was, what else can you say? It was a bad weekend for Florida baseball. But that seems who they are, Shane. I mean, I've been around long enough. I know Sully is pushing a lot of different buttons, and none of them have seemed to be working as well as normal. So I think it's this is a team that lacks, I think, another stud pitcher and just some consistency.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people, I thought we'd go to Missouri and sweep them. Missouri stinks in baseball. I don't care what anybody says. If you look at the standings right now, Kentucky, I'm going to rephrase that one more time. I'm going to say it one more time. Kentucky leads the league at 11-1. Vanderbilt's 8-4. Tennessee 7-5. Florida and South Carolina are both 6-6. Georgia's 5-7. Missouri, well, that's the East. Missouri's 4-8. You look at the West, Arkansas's 11-1. A&M 8-4. Mississippi State 6-6. And the defending champs are 3-9. So Gators are still right there in the mix. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before where maybe they're in the middle of the hunt and get hot at the end. And, they're still in the hunt, as you said, but they've got to play better, than they did. And when they're not hitting like they were this weekend until Sunday, I mean, that's just going to spell trouble because we know the pitching is going to be up and down. I think that's just the way it's going to go for the rest of the year. But with this offense, you expect if they can get 5 or 6 runs, they're still going to win a lot of games. But again, like I said, when you only score 4 in the first 2 games, and then you score 10, and then unfortunately don't hold that. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, and it's kind of what happened.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the whole league outside right now, I think Arkansas is clearly the better team. Kentucky, I'm not going to buy the Kentucky Wildcats yet. Let's switch over to softball. They play tonight for the series against LSU, who's ranked 5th in America. They sit at I think at 33-6. Are you surprised at all at how this team has played?
A little bit, just because the question about this program's been the last few years really that they just haven't had that top shelf pitching. And then also you knew Skylar Wallace with her back, you knew the offense was going to be pretty decent to build around. But I think some of the other players around her have maybe performed better than expected. But to me, it all starts with those two young pitchers. That's turned things around to where you look at this Florida softball program in a little different light now, going down the stretch and going into the postseason. I think they're going to be a real threat, maybe in Oklahoma City if things go right. They had a tough one on Sunday, obviously, with that loss, in the bottom or the last inning there. So that's uncharacteristic of what we've seen this team do this year. and I just expect it to be a little blip on the radar, quite frankly. I think they got all the pieces to keep playing at a very high level like they've been doing. So you got to like what Tim Walton has going on that side of, what is that? Is a Museum Road out there, whatever that road is that divides the two stadiums. On that side, things are going well. Over on the baseball side, Sully's got some things to figure out, and obviously it's going to get tough with a trip to FSU tomorrow. Already lost to them twice. But one win can turn some things around. I just feel that this team is going to play. It's going to rebound from what happened at Missouri. It's going to have another stretch of playing well because it's too good offensively. But yes, they do have to get some pitching consistency, and that's just where it is, man.
Yeah, softball, as you stated, came from behind, took the lead in the seventh, gave it up, tie ball game in the top of the seventh, had to go into extras and lost. But they lost to a very good softball team, LSU. And that game is tonight. I believe it's on TV. It's a 7 p.m. start, which is very strange to me. These NCAA people, SEC people talking about, the student athlete. Why in the hell are you playing on a Monday night for LSU at 7 o'clock when they could be, I remember the day softball used to play a doubleheader on Saturday and the single game on Sunday so the teams could get back. But it's gotten so popular, I think TV is controlling it.
Yeah, well, TV controls everything, Shane. I mean, that's where the dollars have really just poured in over the last decade. And, it's amazing. I was thinking about this the other day, just like if you're a college sports fan, I can remember like even when I was a kid or into my 20s, I couldn't always watch Shane Matthews and the Gators on a Saturday. You guys might be on pay-per-view or something. I can watch anything I want to. If I want to watch the Arkansas State and Central Connecticut State softball game tonight, I probably can find it somewhere.
Very true. Yep, that is true. All right, let's talk before we get to gymnastics. Were you able to attend the scrimmage? And I know you can't talk a lot about it because it's not open to the public. But did you go to the scrimmage, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was at the scrimmage Saturday, and I always look at the second scrimmage of spring and fall as the one that you might start to glean a few true things from. And one thing I thought Graham Mertz was excellent on Saturday from what I saw. He made a couple of throws down the field. One was to Eugene Wilson that I'm like, man, if he makes that throw during the season, that's a great play.
Well, they got to call him. That's the key.
Yeah, well, you got to call him. But I mean, he really hit him on the money a couple of times. And, everybody always talks about Graham's arm strength and throwing down the field. Well, I saw it. It was there. I mean, I saw it firsthand, and you've seen it too in practice. So, Billy, after we talked to Billy, he kind of said what little I saw. I mean, the defense started strong. They controlled the first portion. But then I thought the offense got going and made some plays. Eugene Wilson, like I said, had some nice plays. And I watched DJ Lagway, as I always do when I'm out there. And I mean, DJ, you could tell he's getting a little more comfortable every time. I think he's got they were working on some 2-minute offense with him late, and I would just watch him, and he made the right reads and quick throws. So he looks like he's learning, but I think he'll be the guy who most fans will probably have their eyes on Saturday, right, Shane?
Yeah, and then I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. He's going to have a different color jersey on.
Yeah,
he's going to drop back, and the protection is going to be spotty. He's going to take off running for about 25 yards, and the fans are going to erupt because fans love when a quarterback runs. It just cracks me up.
Well,
part of his
game.
Anyway,
yeah, that will be part of his game, and I'm really curious to see, as most fans are, just what they're comfortable with him in the first season and what kind of packages they throw in. But I always tell everybody, and I'll stick to this. Whatever happens this season, the offense this year, to me, that's not the issue. The offense can win a lot of games. It's all going to be about how good the defense, how much it improves. Are any of those first-year guys huge difference makers on defense? The offense, again, if Graham Mertz stays healthy and the pieces they have, they can win 8-9 games if the defense really picks up, So we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm 100% with you. Offense is going to be fine. Will they be real explosive? I doubt it. but
Yeah.
they're going to be good enough to win games. Having said that, the key to them to having a competitive year and upsetting people, whatever you want to look at it, winning football games, tackling and rushing the passer. Okay. Now, I did read some comments that Billy said this is the best he's seen us tackle in a while. Your thoughts on that?
Well, he did, and I think that's a promising sign. I've seen some of that myself, but also I heard Mike Peterson say that a few days ago. I was there when Mike P was talking, and Mike P's not one to blow smoke a lot. So I like when I heard Mike P say the tackling's been a lot better. So I mean, we all know that's such a point of emphasis for this program. The last 3 years, I don't know how, if there was some analytic stat that could say where Gators ranked in tackling the last 3 seasons, I'm pretty sure we'd probably be in the last 10 of Division One. So it's been a huge point of emphasis for this new group, and I like what Gerald Chapman and Will Harris, what their energy, Ron Roberts. Everybody's talked about tackling, so I do think that's improved. Not only because emphasis, but guess what? You also have, I think, an upgrade in talent over there, even though they're young. I think the talent is slowly climbing back to where it needs to be. And then it's, turnovers, Shane. I mean, everything that you just said, tackling and rushing the passer. Well, guess what? If you do those two things well, your turnover rate is going to shoot up. And that's what has to happen as a byproduct of those two improvements. And, I think they're on the right track there.
Yep. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional price and customized apparel. A few more minutes with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. All right, let's switch over to some good news for the Gators this weekend. Gymnastics is headed back to Fort Worth to compete for a national title. Came up short last year. Your thoughts on the other teams there and where we stack up against them? I guess it all comes down to how the damn judges judge every event. But your thoughts on the gymnastics team?
Well, I was out there at the O'Dome yesterday, and it was a great performance. It was their best performance of the season, and I kind of expected them to advance out of the 4 teams left. I thought it would be them and Utah, but I really didn't know if they'd win it. I thought Utah was very capable of beating them, but I thought the Gators, they came out right from the start, nailed their beam routine, and then they just moved on from there. And again, it was without question. Jenny Rowland after the match or after the meet yesterday, but she said it was kind of a statement performance by this group. They've been waiting on that kind of performance. And Ellie Lazari, the senior, had a great all-around, won her first title of the season, her highest since she was a freshman in 2021 with her all-around score. So, it's a team that, you always talk about a team peaking at the right time. Well, the Gators gymnastics team certainly peaked at the right time. So now they go out to Fort Worth NCAA championships, 8 teams. They're one of the final 8 standing. 4th year in a row they've been out there, back-to-back runner-up finishes. I don't know if they have the team this year. Oklahoma is still the favorite, Shane. What they've got going on out there is just a powerhouse. And, the Gators came so close the last 2 years. I think, next year is when we're really going to talk about the Gators potentially winning another national title when they get Kyla DiCello back. I think Sloan Blakely's sisters coming in. You got some of the talent coming back, like Anya Pilgrim and Leanne Wong. So, but if they can go out there and they can be on point like they were yesterday, hey, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, we saw it yesterday at Utah. They're the only program in the country that they've made every NCAA gymnastics championship, 47-year streak. They've made every one. Well, they were in last place after the first rotation yesterday because they had 2 falls on their first routine. And I'm thinking, wow, this could be an interesting little development. They rallied. They made it. They finished second, and they kept their streak alive. So my point is, gymnastics, anything can happen to really throw things off course if you just have a bad performance. But I think for the Gators to go out to Fort Worth and have a chance, they have to perform very similar to the way they did yesterday.
Yeah, so the 8 teams out there, there's 4 SEC teams: Florida, Alabama, LSU. Who's the 4th? Is it Auburn?
You got me because I wasn't paying much attention to the other Auburn or Kentucky maybe, but I don't have it in front of me right here.
Yeah. And then you got Utah and Oklahoma. And so there's two others. I don't even know who they are, but yeah, OU will be the favorite. Now LSU won the SEC championship the SEC championship meet.
Yeah.
We're the regular season champ. And LSU, I was there last year, Scott. You and I sat briefly together. LSU's going to pack that arena with their fans. I don't know if that has much of an effect in gymnastics.
Sure
But
it does.
it's going to be tough to beat OU, man. They're just a machine in gymnastics.
Yeah, they are. They've got it going at the highest level right now, and I do feel that the Gators are going to be able to knock on that door in 2025 if everything goes right. I'm not writing them off for this season, but again, they're going to have to be at their best and probably hope that Oklahoma has a miscue somewhere, just something fluky. Because if you look at their scores this year, I mean, they're just superior to everybody else. But again, that's why it's always fun to see something like yesterday. I just thought the Gators, I mean, they came out just by far their best performance of the year. They didn't even they didn't even count a score of 9.9 or below on any individual event until the final rotation, which for them was uneven bars, which is not their strength. So that just says how good they were yesterday.
All right, text on the Titan Mark text line from Trevor. Scott, any chance we lose Todd Golden to Kentucky?
Well, I mean, that would be a surprise to me. But if Calipari, I haven't been on Twitter yet. Is he going to Arkansas?
He's going to Arkansas.
Okay, so if he's out to Arkansas, Kentucky will obviously shoot big. It's an unbelievable job if he can get it. Would Todd Golden be on my list of candidates if I was Mitch Barnhart? I might check in with him. But I'd also have a guy like Billy Donovan on my checklist.
So here's my four candidates.
Yeah.
Chris Beard, Bruce Pearl, Rick Pitino, Billy Donovan.
Yeah, I mean, I think Billy D and Pitino are going to be two natural ones, although Pitino would probably be my second choice because he's done that before, but he had great success. And the other two guys you just mentioned, you can't go against either one of them. But, Shane, to answer his question, nothing surprises me. I mean, absolutely nothing. I don't expect Todd Golden to be the next Kentucky coach, but I've seen stranger things happen. I like what he's doing at Florida, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Greg says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, will Mertz be the starter for the orange and Lagway for the blue, or vice versa? If I'm one of them, they will both start for one of the colored teams.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they just switch. Like they do a couple of players, they'll just put them on different jerseys, have them switch. Quarterbacks will be in probably black. So don't get caught up in the score of the game. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, Billy was asked, just kind of chatting the other day about, the format. He's going to stick with the same format they've had, but I think he probably is going to, open it up a little bit more. It might not be as defensive slugfest as yet last year, because we all know what fans want to see spring game. They want to see some touchdowns, man.
There's no question about that. Brandon asked, do you think they reach out to Brad Stevens from the Celtics? I think he's in the front office there now. Probably very relaxed, not worrying about it. His team is just steamrolling people in the NBA. Very good basketball coach.
Yeah, he's
no
excellent.
doubt about it.
Excellent.
Scott, good stuff as always. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Gator Scott. Any good articles you working on that they can read at floridagators.com?
We'll have a lot of spring stuff this year. I got a takeout coming on there. I got Tyler Miles, the strength coach, that I think people will like.
Did you so when you went in there to interview him, did he have you like power clean or squat or anything so you could really write about what the Gator football team's going through? That's what you should do, Scott.
Well, yeah, it was me and Kelby Collins and squat, and I was surprised I beat him, Shane. I mean, I really was. So if you believe that, you'll believe anything, right?
Are you excited for the eclipse today?
Are we going to be able to see it? Because I know it's going to be across the middle part of the country, but what time? Tell me what time.
Well, I was watching the news this morning, and I was hard to follow, but they said like the entire country will experience a little bit of it. if it, you may not even know it here in Florida if it's a cloudy day, which I'm not sure if it is today or not. I really don't know what time. So
Yeah,
maybe
well,
you should just go outside all day and wait and see if you think the eclipse is coming through.
yeah, I might go out and sit in the stadium and work today. That'd be a good place to do it.
Take
So,
pictures from the eclipse,
yeah.
no doubt about it. Scott, good stuff as always, my man. Appreciate your time.
All right, see you, Shane.
That's Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com joining us on the Titan MR hotline courtesy of Comfort Temp. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. Enjoy the national championship game tonight. I'll be surprised if Connecticut doesn't win it, but you never know. That's why you play the game. Have a great day, folks. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.